That is the Antoine Winfield we got used to seeing after a really good rookie campaign and after an incredibly well 2023 campaign. And while that guy may have showed up this season, he immediately got kneecapped in week 1. And I mean that almost literally, as Antoine Winfield got injured in that game against the Commanders. And when he came back, he just didn't look the same and then missed the remainder of the season until the playoffs. That is essentially the story of Antoine Winfield's 2024 season. Now, after an incredibly disappointing season, a lot of people took to the internet to say that, oh, Antoine Winfield didn't deserve the money, you don't ever pay safeties that money, blah, 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 that sort of thing. And, well, I don't necessarily, I understand the argument, I know where they're coming from. Safeties aren't often the most important position on a defense. It's usually edge rushers, and those are the kinds of players that get the big bucks, like Nick Bosa or Khalil Mack or, those sort of guys, Myles Garrett. Those are the people that get the big deals, or even cornerbacks like Patrick Surtain, just to name a few examples. It's not usually safeties. However, Antoine Winfield, even before 2023, had played good enough to warrant getting paid. A lot of people want to pretend that 2023 was his only good season, and that's just simply not true. And I kind of hate that narrative because if you look at all of his stats, and I'll try to put it on the screen for you here, you can see that he has been an incredible safety for his entire career. If you want to have a complaint against him, and this is more justified in my opinion, you can say that he does have a history of being injured. My counter to that is that I think that most defensive backs don't often play an entire NFL season. Maybe it's just my perspective as a Bucs fan and watching Jamel Dean miss at least 7 games a year with injury and never having a fully healthy season, as opposed to Winfield at least. Maybe that's my perspective and being like, well, 4 games in one season isn't that bad. I get that Winfield has had a little bit of an injury history, but usually his play makes up for it when he's on the field. He's usually a difference maker. It just didn't happen in 2024, and I think you can look at it and say that he was playing through injury. I also happen to think that the defense regressing as a whole and pretty much every player in the secondary playing badly has a contributing factor on that, as Antoine Winfield, when on the field, was asked to shoulder more of the burden of keeping the secondary intact. Just insert the Bugatti in the trailer park meme if you would. Thank you, editor me. Yeah, that's basically what Antoine Winfield was dealing with when he saw Tyler Thunderburns get predictably, burnt on the field. It was really bad. There's that, that little nugget of fact that I just absolutely love, which is the starting secondary got to play one game together, just one, and it was the first game of the season, where predictably the passing defense looked all right. Obviously, they were facing a rookie Jayden Daniels who didn't quite have his feet under him yet, but even still, I don't think it's a coincidence that the passing defense looked good on a day in which, for once, the Bucs had everybody healthy in the secondary, albeit even then we started seeing the injuries crop up. All of this is to say, I do not think that it is wise to write off Antoine Winfield Jr. quite yet. I think he is still a really good NFL player, and he hasn't just decided to either stop playing football or hasn't forgotten how to play football. He is still an all-pro caliber player. Now, if given the offseason to rest and barring no setbacks and he's healthy to start the year, he still looks rough and he continues to look rough through most of the season, then we can start having the conversation about, well, what do we do with that deal we gave him? Do we try to trade him? Do we try to cut him? What then? We can start having the conversation if after this offseason, Winfield looks rough. I do not think after a really bad injury year for him, you can safely say that, oh, he's done. He's given up. He's got the money. He's not going to try anymore. Because I don't think that's who he is. I don't know him personally. I can't claim I do. But based on how he carries himself and how he carries himself in the team locker room, being a team captain and all, I do not think he is the type of guy that would just give up because he got the money. That doesn't seem right. Again, I could be wrong about this. Maybe he has just given up because he's sitting on his bed of cash thinking that I'm set for life. I don't need to try anymore. I don't see it, and I don't think a lot of NFL players are like that. There are, of course, exceptions, but I don't think Winfield is that guy. And I think we can see maybe not necessarily 2023 Antoine Winfield, but at the very least 2020 or 2021 Winfield. I think that guy can be here again if he starts the season healthy, and maybe if there is more of a secondary around him, we can see this man once again